we're going to go over the planetary aspects that are surrounding us and affecting us for this upcoming week of the Sagittarius full moon, June 5th through the 11th. And this week, a lot of focus gets brought into what the logical mind says it is we need to do and what our heart and our intuition is telling us to do on the other end. The full moon this week, of course, represents cycles of completion and endings, and it shines a light and illuminates that balance between what the logical mind says we have to do and what our intuition says we need to do to better be happy in this year of change and happiness, thanks to the Leo eclipses and Jupiter going through Libra, balancing the scales, trying to bring harmony and balance for us in ways we haven't seen in 14 years. And a lot of that is an underlying factor of this week. A lot of reminders over the past several weeks, the past few weeks especially in our readings, that remind us that that truly is what 2017 is. This is the year of thinking with the heart. And this week, it really gets brought into focus in a lot of super cool ways. Of course, that full moon, like I said. But two of these major factors that we're going to start with first is where we're going to focus on. First, we're going to focus on the heart, and then we're going to focus on the head. And we're going to show you where the universe is kind of strengthening both this week, so you can find a happy medium between the two to get the guidance and intuition, or guidance that you're really looking for, and answers that you've been sending out into that universe that you're trying to find a good answer for. So start first with the heart, with that heart center right here, the green chakra, right where all the energy of balance, of giving and receiving flows, right here. And the heart center is ruled by beautiful Venus. Venus is the heart center because Venus is the planet of love. It's planet of love and money, and those are the two where we give and receive in life. So they carry the same weight in astrology. Love and money, they do. And they're represented by the planet Venus. This is a major year for Venus because Venus rules that sign Libra, where Jupiter is trying to go through and bring luck and balance the scales of Jupiter this year for us in ways it hasn't for 14 years. Venus rules that sign of Libra, right? So these are really important all together. Boom, 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 right? And this year, Venus retrograded, right? Had us looking to the past in those areas in our life where there may have been cracks in the foundation in love and money. Because when Venus retrograde started back in March, it went for the 40 days leading up into Easter. When it went retrograde, it was in the sign of Taurus. And this week it finally is getting back there after a really weird tour of going backwards and looking to the past a lot, where the cracks in our foundations and the security is in our love and our finances. Venus has been thinking about that quite a bit. It thought about that a lot over that 40 days of Easter, trying to figure out where do I need to make these changes. A lot of deep feelings came through as it backed through the sign of Aries and saying, where do I need these new beginnings? And then it got really deep feeling as it went back into Pisces. And that's where it was when it went direct, okay, at Easter time. Really having us feel deeply and really going back to the past, looking for clarity with the areas that need to be changed in those areas in our life where we're not very happy in love and money, and just overall harmony with ourselves, right? Overall harmony in our life, because that's what Venus wants to do. And this is the year where it's ready to come to the forefront. The heart wants attention. It says, I'm telling you these things for a reason, because you've been stuck. And after it left that retrograde, it started going through Aries again. Aries wants to bring new beginnings. It wants things to change. It doesn't want the repeat button to get hit again in these areas for us. It's ready to break free. And now we know what needs to be done, don't we? I think a lot of us have really gained that clarity on what it is that needs to be done. We've been slowly gaining confidence as Venus has been going through that sign of Aries over the past few weeks. Now it's landing into Taurus on Tuesday. And when it goes back into Taurus again, like it did just before all this retrograde cycle started, it's not looking to the past anymore. The past is almost kind of done in Venus's eyes right now. And it says you've thought enough. You've introspected enough. Now you're ready to make these changes. And if you do, now that Venus is stable and going direct in the sign of Taurus, its home sign of Taurus, right? Not only does it rule Libra, it also rules Taurus. Now it can get good solid footing to those plans you have moving forward. And the main focus it is finding security in our love, security in our finances, and the solid ground is there to really get it going. That's a great base, right, for this heart center. That's where our intuition lies, too, is in that heart, isn't it? And the heart tells us when we need to change things, right? But it's always at odds with what the mind says. The logical mind says that we need to do, right? So the heart center is getting strengthened this week, but so is this guy up here, right? Because you need to balance it out. You can't always go with what your heart's telling you. You need to use your logical mind to help you figure this out. And so the mind, Mercury, is going into its home sign of Gemini this week, and it will be there the next 3 weeks. And this is very powerful as well, because we need to strengthen this muscle as well. We need to strengthen that lower mind. We need to strengthen our thought process so that we can see things consciously the correct way. And that's exactly what's going to be happening. As Mercury tours that home sign of Gemini, we become a lot more focused on reality, right? We want to learn new things. We want to discuss these things. We've had a lot of time for introspecting, and now that Mercury's there, our communication style is sharpened, so we're able to take what's here, verbalize it, process it, and get it out and talk to others about what it is we've been thinking, what it is we've been feeling in here. We can communicate that better too, not just to others, but to ourselves. We can finally admit some of these things to ourselves, where before we may have been kind of holding ourselves back in that area. So mind is sharp, heart is sharp. Then we've got this full moon that comes into focus on Friday, and it is a major moon that's between the two, because we've got the sun in Gemini here. The sun is here in the mind. The sun in the sky right now is shining a light on how our mental process is working, what our conscious mind tells us we need to do logically in this life, right, to make these changes happen. But then we've also got on the flip side of it, we've got the moon in Sagittarius, which is ruled by what planet? Jupiter. We talked about Jupiter going through and trying to balance those scales for the heart this year, right? Strengthening our intuition. That's what Jupiter does. Jupiter represents the higher mind, where Gemini and why am I saying that? Mercury and Gemini is the lower mind. So we've got a little bit of conflict between the two. The higher mind wants to go beyond. It wants to explore beyond where it's limited. And it wants to see new horizons. It's tired of the repetitive cycles, and it wants to break free. Okay? So this full moon kind of brings a little bit into focus, saying, well, how do you break free from it? You have to follow what your intuition is telling you, right? But you also have to balance that with some logic, some logical thought process here. So that all gets brought into focus on this full moon that happens on Friday. And interestingly enough, at that same time on Friday, we have Jupiter leaving its retrograde phase, and it's moving direct now. It's going forward. It's been retrograde since the beginning part of February. And just like how when Venus was retrograde and looking to the past in those areas of romance and finances, right, trying to find the cracks, when Jupiter goes retrograde, it has us kind of looking back to our faith, our values, our own personal belief system, and how strong our faith really is. But it's not just our faith, it's our trust that God will provide, right? Those things get brought into focus. And Jupiter is the planet of luck. Whatever it touches astrologically, it's going to bring opportunities because it's expanding you beyond your limiting horizons, right? So as it's retrograde, we don't really rely on luck because that power is muted. You can't really rely on that luck to get you through, right? But now that it goes direct starting on Friday, luck returns in a way, right? Because it's based off of what you're doing by following this area right here. So it's awesome that that same day that its home sign is going to be in this really powerful full moon, illuminating those cycles in your life where completions are happening, endings are happening, and it's time to kind of expand beyond and go beyond those limiting horizons that you got yourself in. So that's a major focus that's happening this week in the skies. So let's kind of pull it all together with a reading, see what the angels are telling us, which ones are working with us, helping to kind of provide that guidance for us in that time frame of balancing what's going on here and here to really come to better conclusions with what we need moving forward. So let's see which angel is working with us this week. Well, isn't that perfect? I would certainly say I've pulled a sodalite here. And sodalite represents Archangel Zadkiel. Archangel Zadkiel, of course, is the angel of Gemini. He's the angel of the lower mind, and he's the angel that helps us to see things clearly. He helps us to remember and to look to the past, right? There's a lot of that comes up with us. Logical mind keeps going. I'm looking to the past. I'm thinking of these things. And a lot of times when we look to the past, we look back with rose-colored glasses, and we romanticize what's happened in the past, and it kind of keeps us stuck and in those repetitive cycles because we say, well, it used to work. But because of that, because we get stuck in that, we don't necessarily see when it's time to move forward, right? Archangel Zadkiel is the angel that helps bring the clarity for that and helps us to see where those changes need to take place, right? Angel of Gemini helps us remember things, remember facts and figures and tests and things along those lines. He's the angel that you call on for that guidance. So let's see what his message is for this upcoming week. Let's see here. Opening up those chakras, right? Opening up that third eye. That's what he does. So we get clarity of thought. Perfect angel to call on, finding that balance between the two. Archangel Zadkiel, what is your message to us this week? Of your full moon. Man, this is your full moon for the year. What are you going to tell us? Ooh, that jumped right out. Well, we know that's him. Okay. Oh, look at this. New beginnings. I love it. Oh, I love this. Oh, and I love it so much because I was saying, remember, the heart center is the green chakra right here in the middle. And the ace cards in tarot always represent brand new beginnings that happen. The very first beginning. And what's great about this one is that it represents the seed being planted right in the ground, earth in the ground. And when we plant that seed in the darkness of the new moon that happened a couple of weeks ago, that super new moon that happened a couple of weeks ago, what were you putting into that a couple of weeks ago? What new beginnings did you want to start? This is a card that indicates that you're going to start seeing some seedlings pop up, indicating where the major changes are going to be happening and the new beginnings really start happening. This is an inflow of abundance, whether it's financially or romantically. New beginnings are taking foot in a tangible form. Promising new business ventures happening. Regardless, this is the number one sign for knowing that your seed has been planted well, something is sprouting, and that a new beginning is definitely, in fact, waiting. So let's pull another card with that, too, in this new beginning that he's telling us. And we'll kind of pull it together. Opening up our minds so we can understand, see the illumination between the heart and the mind. It brings us a new beginning in these logical, tangible things in our life because it's the earth suit, representative of finances and love. What else you got to tell us about that in this new beginning to keep in mind? I really strongly feel I have to do this 4 times. Oh, isn't this weird? Because this was exactly the card we just had last week. That's really weird. Perception, right? It's all in how you see it. Main thing about this card, and I love it because these are all very, very green, very focused on that heart center, like we said just a moment ago. Mind and the heart. I love this. It's all in how you perceive it, right? It's all in how you look at this. Look at that gem of the heart center that's right there. She's following her heart. She ultimately is. And in the process of doing so, she's closing doors to the past. She's leaving things in the past behind, right? That's the idea here. And the hard thing is, though, when we logically start thinking about shutting the doors to what we've known in the past, we logically realize that as we do so, we can't just open it back up and have it go right back where it used to be. That's where we have to use our perception and understand that maybe it isn't best to go back into the past, right? If it was, it would have kept going and it would have been fine, but something is broken for a reason. And you're walking through that new door for a reason. And it's all in how you perceive it. Is it a good change or is it a bad change? Main thing they're telling us this week is that the new beginning that's coming promises to be abundant. It promises to bring you a multitude of wonderful blessings in the end. But it's all in how you perceive shutting that door to the past and opening the door to the brighter future that's waiting for you. right? So let's do that, right? Call on Archangel Zadkiel this week. He's going to help you find that balance between here and here, and gain better clarity and understanding as we bring those cycles of completion to an end and move forward into the future. So everybody, know that your seeds are strengthened and growing, and beautiful things are culminating and growing. Have a wonderful